Welcome, everybody, to another episode of What Would It Cost Florida with your host, myself, Niels Decker, and our special guest, Brady Thrasher. We're going to get into it today and really dive into what brought successes and their processes and procedures that came out already from family members working all together, and then the growth from there, and also our partnership that's coming up. Super excited to have you on, Brady. Thank you.
Thank you. Really excited for the opportunity. Looking forward to getting right into it.
Beautiful. All right, welcome, Brady. What's going on? Yes, let's do a proper handshake. Eh? I love it. We're here. Bro. Yeah, I'm super excited about this and high energy.
Of course, man.
It's been amazing ever since I think our first phone call was that, and our language that we connected on was just on the same page. And
for sure.
Like we knew each other for a long time.
I've been following you guys for a while. So not just on the mortgage side and service side, but also with content, personal growth, and ambition. I mean, that's the energy that I feed off of, and we don't find that in our market all the time. And with the power of the internet, we have the ability now to look outside of our market, and that's the fuel for my fire is connecting with professionals like you and your team.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly on our end. It ties into being able to service people at a standard that we're setting for ourselves personally and then professionally, and that right away was just like, okay, this makes complete sense.
Yeah,
we'll get a little bit more into some other projects that we now are working towards together. That's going to be super exciting.
Super excited.
But let's dive in a little bit. First, who's Brady? A little bit of background. You also are in 2 locations, so let's dive in.
I am. So I wear a unique hat. So back home, I'm from Windsor, Ontario. I'm born and raised in that market. I'm 36 years old. Father and a husband. That's my full-time job. Real estate is my exercise daily to get resources to, provide and have fun with the fam. So I have a good balance. Back home, I sell real estate. I run a team of me and 3 agents that sell underneath me. We operate under the Preferred Partners International Real Estate Team. We do quite a bit of business back home. I've been featured early on in my career as the top 30 under 30 with Remax for 3 consecutive years until I got I got those gray hairs, and then I aged out of that category.
Like, get this guy out of here, even if he's under 30.
Yeah, and then I graduated to top 100 agents and top 200 teams in the country. So there's always been that evolution of growth, and it didn't want to, I didn't want to stop at that market just doing residential transactions and doing units. So I really looked at how I can get involved in a different market, and I seen the migration of Canadians coming south.
And then actually, I want to pause because we're jumping over something huge here. Like top 30, under 30, top a group of 100. Like, how did that just didn't fall out of the sky? Let's unravel that a bit. And then for those who are listening, when you say back home's
Windsor, Ontario. Cool. So I had experience and promotion similar to you, Nick. That's kind of like, what puts people in a position to understand how to leverage contacts and how to procure opportunities from a database. So I was very good at that. I got in and I was kind of like a promoter. I was running on a shoestring budget, full of piss and vinegar, really forward thinking with marketing, social media, and nobody was doing it at the time. So I went in and I prospected aggressively, as I still do. And I had a really good formula on how to create opportunities and conversations. And then it was up to me to either convert or just know the client or the consumer and know maybe they're not at that right time in the cycle of buying or selling, but it's mostly just relationship based, which I've always been really strong at maintaining and getting new relationships. So my first year, I forget how many transactions. It was probably, I think it was low 30s, like 32.
Wild.
Next year, 58. Next year in the 70s. And then my final year as a single agent, I did 94 units, which I was no assistant, no authenticine.
Nice.
I was putting for sale signs out at midnight because I was the young guy that had, unfortunately, I didn't have the right goals. I didn't have the goals to live a healthy and balanced life. I was like Mark McGuire. Mark McGuire back in the day, home run king. For everybody who doesn't know Mark McGwire, he was literally the most focused home run king. Him, Sammy Sosa. This was back in 2000, 2005, whenever.
We were just talking actually with Jonathan Diaz about this.
I got to meet him too. Yeah. So the home run mindset is just like, it's very short sighted. You have an objective just to crush, and then you end up on a couch in 5 years eating potato chips, wondering why you don't have a business or why you're not in the show anymore. So I took a different approach, and I broke down instead of looking at money per year I wanted to make, I looked at opportunities daily. I looked at exercises and executions daily that would allow me to just make people feel good. It's not about sales to me. If people come in my arena and we start talking about sales, then I can go into sale mode and I know how to deal with it. I have a high conversion rate, but my main focus is relationships and not always focused on sales, but there's a lot of work just to take care of people, to make them feel good, to improve their day. And hopefully you're at top of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. And also then what you were mentioning, that shift of doing everything on your own to be able to create a proper team, and what was the process along that, and how did that grow, or what were maybe some pieces where you learned, or mentorship, or what did that look like?
Right. So my whole team is family. I have my mother, who's my assistant, who was a realtor for 13 years. There's nobody better, period. So I would be nothing without her. Shout out mom, for sure. Yeah. So she's my number one. I have my sister and my sister-in-law and my aunt. They all work for me. It's all family. We all sit at a table. We know that we're not working for commission. There's no ego. Yeah. It's service. And that's it. There's no dispute amongst anything. We're on a universal split. We all are a part of all deals. It doesn't matter if they self-source and I'm never involved, or if I self-source, they're on a split. They get a piece of my deal. That way we're all celebrating wins, and it's a very good collaborative setting. And then we just kind of track quarterly on performance to make sure that they have a calendar, that they have to do these certain things every day, and that's going to earn them in the split. So you're hitting the phones. You're going to 50 doors a day. And if you do that, you're on the team split. If you begin to not do that, there's probation, and then you're off the team split. And then you're just going to be self-source.
So I hear structure and process and procedures, accountability, also goals to be able to say, get everyone needs to self-motivate themselves, and then be able to then say, okay, I showed up enough or not for the team.
Sure.
This is amazing. And
it's a good model.
From your mom had similar systems and process and procedure.
She was a single agent. My she was a caregiver to my father. My father had MS and passed away from cancer. So she had a very flexible schedule. I love that. I love the entrepreneurial spirit. So I got in real estate to follow what I seen her do. Yeah. And it wasn't just about, I make my own schedule. It was, what is the most exciting industry where your days are different, your clientele is different, and you can be anybody you want to be. Like next year, if I want to have a totally different image and brand and attract a new pool of buyers or sellers, I can do that. It's a versatile industry. I got in for that reason. The organization of teams really came in the past 5 years in my market. That's when the growth started happening in scale. A lot of teams operate on what many coaches do. They'll say, hey, there's a rainmaker, which I would be considered a rainmaker. Yep. There's outbound marketing. There's inflow of leads. There's lead funnels. There's round robin. People get fed. And then there's a split with the higher up. I don't really work that way. So there's not, so to say, a top heavy split. It's more of a collaborative thing. They have a different split if it's self-source. So they're more of an entrepreneur. I have to be engaged to help them develop their tools as an entrepreneur. Because I want to see them successful. I don't want employees. I want partners. That's why it is preferred partners.
Which is amazing. Yeah, that ties in really nicely. And what I hear as well is that naturally you'll have team members that are then also put in a position that's their strength. Yeah. To enjoy it because they're playing on their strengths and they're showing up like, hey, I know what I'm good at, and I continue to work on what I have to with joy and passion, naturally, versus someone that might just be a fish out of water. Not to say that someone can take on something new, but you then created a team where everyone is playing to their strengths and also knows their role, their responsibility in team. I think that's such an amazing piece that when you look at sports, someone's a defender, they know they're defending.
Right.
or they're afford whatever position there is. And I feel like sometimes in companies, some people will, there's so many outside influences where people is like, oh, they're doing that, I want to, and then forget about what role they actually signed up for, and it just kind of gets off track. So I love that.
Yeah.
That's super
and people
powerful.
evolve. We find that my role has changed. Me, it went from, hey, I'm doing... So when we were talking about my early years, there was, hey, units, do 100 units, do 150 units, do 185 units for the team. And now it's like there's the residential, resale, retail investor clientele, which is a pool that we're all active in, and we all have to chip in to market, to service that client database. Me, I'm more special projects. I'm going to be more of land assemblement, working with companies that are publicly traded. So I have more targets where it's a little bit more broad, where people might pull me from Windsor and say, hey, I need you to be tasked near Muskoka or near the GTA, London, Ontario. And now I'm Michigan licensed, and I'm also Florida broker.
Awesome.
So I've been licensed here for 3 years. I've been an owner of the RE/MAX Preferred in Lauderdale for 5 years. Became a broker last year because I had to wait 2 years to do my license. So now I'm at the point where I'm growth oriented. We're working on some things that are going to widen the footprint of the brokerage, which is very exciting. And I just have that obsession of constant growth where I don't want to wake up next year, be in the same place. And in 10 years, I don't want to look back and say, I used to own an office, or I own an office that is in Fort Lauderdale. I'm here to win. So I'm excited to work with you guys because it's the same attitude. You come down here with something to prove, and it's a weapon.
It certainly is. And for the most part, I always say we're meeting a lot of people that are excited and take every day as a new day, new opportunity. And we're noticing as well that some people were moving faster than others. So there's a leg up that we're creating for ourselves naturally. So that's super exciting. But as well there, that transition, what was it that, had you choose here? What was there a history here? That transition to here where you are.
It's paradise. Tax reasons, lifestyle, the enjoyment that I get with my family. So about 12 years ago, I had visited, actually my first year in the business, I signed with RE/MAX Preferred in Windsor. It's a company. That's what I work for today. I'm not a partner there. I simply am a team lead of a team within that brokerage. I signed on with that brokerage. I came down with my girlfriend at the time. She's now my wife. And we went to her parents' condo, and I drove by a building that said RE/MAX Preferred. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to own that one day. And she's like, yeah, okay. She's like, well, it'd be nice. Like, we've moved down here, whatever. And I'm like, one day I'll own it. And then 4 years later, I walked in there, literally unannounced. I met Linda, who you met, who's my broker, and one of the most trustworthy people that I know, and I love her. I met her, and I said, I'm looking for the owner. Yeah, he's not here. He's a lawyer. He's not really here. I run the business. So I said, hey, tell him there's a Canadian looking for him. And I left my number. A couple hours later, I get a call. And he's like, who's this Canadian looking for me? I'm at this bar. Meet me at this time. So I go there. And right away, he's like, you know what? I'm not for sale. But I kind of like how you're not in this market and you're not one of my competitors. What are you looking at doing? So we ended up, over the course of about a year and a half, found a formula that actually worked, because when you naturally go to somebody and you say, hey, you willing to sell, they're thinking, finally found that idiot. This is the call I hear people get. This is my call. It's a lotto ticket. So it wasn't like that. I was looking at fair market value, but lack of succession. And that's the formula with small business down here. When people are looking for opportunities, I get it all the time. I want to sell in Florida. You can't, unless you have a social security number. Dude, I had to buy a business here. I had to blow my brains out and take a chance, and then try to qualify for my visa. I got turned down the first time, and I had my money here. I had a business here that I couldn't even manage. And I was scared to cross the border. So, I mean, you can't just come down here and think you can earn, or else everybody in the world would be in Florida. So I bought the business and got the visa. It worked out really well. And then I started doing some big deals. I've sold $10 million house. I have a $20 million residential home under contract. I'm working on some very unique deals across the state of Florida. So the targets are set. People know that I'm down here, and I get a lot of leads that come in all over the state. I'm in Fort Lauderdale primarily. I will travel outside of Fort Lauderdale if it's my, valued client that I work with. And if it's somebody that's just asking questions, I'll direct them to somebody who's key in a market who I trust.
Yeah.
And that happens in every market. Sarasota last week, Marco Island a few weeks ago, Naples all the time. So I have guys there and women there that kind of operate as a extension of my business, and it provides referral opportunities. But yeah, the move here was kind of setting up a nest egg, seeing if I can make it in a market that I adore, because Florida to me is like, when you hear Florida, you hear Miami, you think, damn, it's like New York. You feel like you're playing for the Yankees when you come here. So naturally, I wanted to see if I can cut it. So it's no different. The competition back home, there's a lot of agents here. I find that talent back home is very fierce. They're focused on the end result. Here, you could have a mix where people come down here after their working years and sell real estate too. So you're competing against an agent who sold a business for $5 million. They're not going to operate at the speed we do. We're like, man, please get out of our way. Where they're like, hey, Blue Martini happy hours right now.
We're pinned in sixth gear.
Let's go.
Yes.
So, awesome. I mean, it's, to me, if you show up here, it's the sky's the limit. It's same thing with back home. People think, oh yeah, you can go to Florida, or you're in Florida, you're making a lot of money. I can do very well back home if I put my nose down and actually just prospect, convert, close, and maintain relationships. That's the reality. So, I mean, I always feel there's a cap for agents when you're dealing with a certain audience of buyers and sellers. It's hard to, people think they come here, they're going to be working with $5-10 million buyers. It's not like that. You have to be usually branded. You have to have a really good sphere of contacts, and you have to have access to stuff that MLS, Zillow, or other agents aren't going to be feeding people. So to earn that opportunity is very hard, just like it is back home. You're not going to list a mall. People are going to be like, I'm going to go with whoever the mall deals with, whoever's dealing with institutional transactions. It's a different beast here. So you're dealing with the average sale price in this market, let's say, is going to be between $600,000 and $700,000. Similar to Windsor, just the currency's different. So I find that there's always a cap in this market unless the agent elevates to a different level of service, scales to a team, or naturally is just doing higher grade deals. You can have agents here that are doing 5 deals a year, and each deal is $3 million and they're making very good money. Or you'll have agents that are doing $400,000 transactions and they're doing
10, 20, 30.
They're doing 100 of them. We see it. Production's possible here. It's just about servicing the client. And I find that for each level, whatever people are looking to penetrate when they come down here, it's really focusing on the client experience, because there are so many options. And just with you guys, I'm in the same business of, I have a great storefront. I have a great agent base there. But we're always fighting for the new eyeballs. We have a lot of great, valuable and loyal clients, but there are people that we want to attract that are new, and they can go anywhere and they're going to shop it around. So it's important to have a value add and an experience involved. That's very important in this market. And
through collaboration, there's the possibility of that growth. And we'll touch on that now, is that what we're creating together is that satellite office inside your office, and being able to, be of service for people that walk through, or with the agents. And so it's going to be super exciting to essentially deliver what we're looking for, which is that white glove and going above and beyond and answering those questions. And I think that what I hear often as well from you is that communication's got to be key. No legs in the communication, answer the questions, and with our expertise, being able to bring someone to the finish line, it'll be a great mix.
I'm super excited. The storefront, you guys have seen it. Everybody who's watching the video right now hasn't seen the storefront. It's a great main intersection. We got some of the best restaurants in Fort Lauderdale as our neighbors, which is always going to result in great walking opportunities. And then we have the interactive storefront. You guys are looking to carve out that front streetscape, the best part of my office, which is the window. That is your opportunity to at least flag down. I don't know how many leads, but we're driving by last night. It's like 10 o'clock. There's still people walking by my office. I'm not saying the place turns into a nightclub at night, but the restaurant's next door. It's a family-oriented restaurant. Pasta, wood fire pizza. When people come from Canada, that is a landing pad, and we're a highly populated community there with the Gulf Ocean Mile, which is one of my favorite streets in Fort Lauderdale in Southeast Florida, and then Coral Ridge. Yeah. Tons of Canadians there. So we have the Canadian flag and the U.S. flag outside to show the alliance, you know, and that we're there.
Let's talk a bit about this property. So we're at a listing of yours. So let's dive in. What would it cost?
Well, list price on this property is $2,425,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 80 feet of deep water with no fixed bridges, which is really important because Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Lighthouse, and Boca are kind of the Venice of North America. And people always refer to it as that. There are a lot of waterfront lots that have fixed bridges where you cannot get a watercraft underneath. So you're simply going to enjoy the waterfront maybe for paddleboard or just aesthetically appealing to live on the water, but not really have the full access with a pleasure craft. Here you have no fixed bridges and deep water, and you have a pretty wide canal. So you can get boats in here, have it as a turn basin where they can actually have a yacht in the backyard. Very important. You're about 15 minutes to the Hillsborough Inlet to the ocean. And then we have 2,264 square feet. It's main floor living ranch style, split floor plan, 2 bedrooms on one side, 2 bedrooms on the other, and 3 full bathrooms. The house has been gut renovated. I've been here many times socially, and it's one of my favorite places to go when I'm in Florida. So to me, it's an honor and a privilege to be marketing the property. Spent a lot of time in that pool with the homeowners, and somebody's going to get a great house here. We've looked at the comps that are our property is far superior as far as upgrades, but we look at a square foot basis of something that's turnkey, but not $100,000 kitchen, not new plumbing from the street to the house, all throughout the house and rebuilt. Those homes are going for around just over 2.2 million. So we're really fair on price. I would expect things to go very well. We have a brokers open today that's catered, have a lot of good responses and interactions with agents who are sending clients and attending themselves.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I want to shift gears a little bit as well. And we were having some fun earlier, chit-chatting about some experiences that you've had. And and there's a realtor piece to it that I think will be really informative to share. But some of the craziest stories, something that a Canadian story or here in Florida that you've experienced that we could share, the ones that you can share.
There's been a lot of things, I would say, that highs and lows that can happen in a real estate transaction or happen in a market when you're marketing and listing real estate. Even a couple weeks ago, I was talking to somebody, and when we were down here last night, we were talking about list prices of homes. And I have a listing that's in Windsor, and it was $299,000, but the place was a hoarded house. This was very recent, 2 weeks ago. We listed it, and the power's off. The guy wasn't paying the bills, and somebody offered him $200,000 before it hit the market. And he called us. We ended up going in there. I said, listed at $299,000. I paid $5,000. I basically loaned the money to get the house cleaned out with guys with hazmat suits. Got storage containers to take any possessions that he wanted to keep, to put those aside for him, and then cut the grass, which the grass was waist high. Cost me $450 just to cut a postage stamp lot. And we looked at the offers. We held off for 1 week. I didn't even communicate with him because I wanted to surprise him. I knew it was going to be wild. And we had 22 offers that sold for $423,000. I mean, it changed that he thought he was at the end of his life with no money. And I mean, he's probably 65. He retired a little bit early and had the home equity, but he couldn't access it because there was no income. So, and the house was in disrepair and wasn't paying utilities. So he had to make a move. And it was really fulfilling seeing what he thought could have been quick money and a quick close. And he gave us an opportunity to not just push it out there to the market with a house that had 10 cats and was destroyed, but he let us go in there, rip all the carpet out, committed to being vacant and living with family without knowing the end result. He really trusted us. I mean, that's the essence of professional standard and creating that standard of excellence, is understanding the best possible use of a property, but also understanding the performance and the ability. If you position a product or an opportunity right, you're going to capture a bigger audience and you're going to net them more money. So that's the mandate in this business, as you know.
Well, maximizing its potential as well, and ultimately a super happy customer. That gentleman's going to be was over the moon for
definitely. Sure. We still got to close that deal. No doubt it will. It's just one of those things that we got to wait a couple weeks. And it's going to be nice to see them enjoy the next chapter with no stress.
Cool. And the other piece too, the realtor piece and how open houses work here. We chatted about it. I thought that was an interesting topic as well.
Yeah, we're doing the Brokers Open today. And when I sent out the email blast, agents in this market, not like they do back home. Back home, if an agent's sending somebody through an open house, they might not know about it. The client might just show up, or the agent will send them and not even really reach out to us. Here, you really have to register your clients, or you can get your clients taken. And you could deal with a legal battle after if that agent had sent them the listing or showed them the house or driven by the house with them or even showed it on a private showing, and the person comes into the open house. If I end up working with them and do a contract, there could be liability and recourse financially because they procured the opportunity. So they're entitled to a piece of that commission or the commission. So you got to really watch out in this market and operate on the up and up.
So where can people find you online?
So people can find me easily. I got a name that not many people have. So Brady Thrasher, Instagram, Facebook. It's just my first and last name. I keep it pretty simple. My phone number, if anybody needs anything, is 519-819-5965. I'm available and accessible. Very easy. People can call or text me if they have any questions about Florida or Windsor.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
That's so good. Thank you for being
thank you,
on
man.
Today. Yes, a pleasure.
I'm looking forward to working with you guys more, man. This is great.
Super
I appreciate
excited.
you guys coming out and doing a pop-up podcast in the Brokers Open House.
Thank you for listening. For you, this was another episode of What Would It Cost Florida. Thank you. Until the next one.